Take a look at your arms. Now picture a chimpanzee's. Here's something that sounds almost impossible. Humans and chimpanzees have nearly the same number of hair follicles across their entire bodies. So why does a chimp look completely covered in fur while human skin looks almost bare? And there's a stranger mystery buried inside that one. If evolution stripped hair from nearly every part of the human body, why did it leave one patch behind? The beard. For generations, scientists searched for an answer. Was it an accident, or did that patch of facial hair matter enough that evolution simply refused to erase it? To understand the beard, we first need to solve the bigger mystery. Why did humans lose their body hair in the first place? Rewind nearly 2 million years. Africa's grasslands stretched to the horizon, the sun was relentless, and survival depended on movement. Early humans weren't built for a lion's or leopard's explosive speed, so they hunted differently, a strategy called persistence hunting. The idea was almost stupidly simple: keep moving, never stop, and eventually the animal being chased would overheat, slow down, and collapse. The hunters could then finish the job safely. It worked beautifully. But it created one serious problem. The hunters themselves could overheat too, and in the African sun, that wasn't just uncomfortable, it could be fatal. A body covered in thick fur traps heat, and when heat can't escape, body temperature climbs dangerously fast. Staying cool became just as urgent as finding food. So nature responded. Instead of relying on fur, the human body developed one of the most efficient cooling systems in the animal kingdom: millions of sweat glands. When sweat reaches the skin and evaporates, it carries heat away with it, but only on bare skin. Thick fur blocks evaporation and makes the whole system far less effective. Over thousands of generations, humans gradually shed most of their body hair, not because hair was useless, but because staying cool could mean the difference between life and death. Less fur, better cooling, greater endurance, better odds of survival. For a long time, that explanation seemed to answer everything, until scientists noticed a detail that didn't fit. If losing hair was all about staying cool, why did evolution leave thick hair on the face of adult men? A beard doesn't help you run faster. It doesn't help sweat evaporate. If anything, it does the opposite. So why keep it? That single question would eventually pull scientists into one of the strangest mysteries in all of human evolution. If cooling were the only rule evolution followed, every patch of thick hair should have vanished completely. It didn't. The scalp stayed covered. Eyebrows stayed put. Eyelashes never disappeared. And on men, the beard survived. That's not a coincidence. Each of these has its own job. Scalp hair works like a natural umbrella, shielding the head from direct sun. Eyebrows redirect sweat away from the eyes. Eyelashes catch dust before it reaches the eye itself. The beard doesn't fit that pattern at all. It doesn't improve endurance or help release heat. If anything, a thick beard traps warmth around the face. So why didn't evolution get rid of it too? Even Charles Darwin found this detail fascinating. Writing The Descent of Man in 1871, he floated an unexpected idea. Maybe the beard wasn't preserved because it helped survival. Maybe it survived because it influenced attraction. That's a different evolutionary force entirely, called sexual selection. Natural selection keeps you alive. Sexual selection helps you reproduce. Sometimes a trait sticks around not because it makes life easier, but because it makes its owner more attractive or more intimidating. Think of the peacock's tail, which makes escaping predators harder and yet persists, because females consistently favor males with bigger, healthier plumage. Researchers have tested whether the same logic applies to beards, showing volunteers photos of the same men clean-shaven, lightly stubbled, and fully bearded. The results were strikingly consistent. Fuller beards were rated as older, stronger, more dominant, more confident, and more capable of protecting others. Whether those impressions were actually accurate didn't matter. Evolution responds to perception, not truth. If a beard shapes how people size a man up, it can shape competition, social standing, and mate choice. In that sense, the beard may have become a kind of biological advertisement, not for survival but for reproduction. But appearance alone doesn't explain everything. Underneath every beard is another story, written by hormones, and that discovery would change how scientists thought about facial hair entirely. If the beard survived because of attraction, the next question is obvious. What exactly was it advertising? Look at boys before puberty, smooth-faced, almost uniformly. Then testosterone rises, voices deepen, shoulders broaden, muscle builds, and tiny hairs start appearing on the chin and jaw, growing thicker and darker over time. That's not a coincidence. Facial hair growth is closely tied to testosterone and how sensitive the skin is to it. A beard isn't decoration. It's visible proof that real biological changes have already happened. Ancient humans had no lab tests to confirm any of this. They didn't need them. One glance at a face could answer the questions that mattered. Is this person fully grown, healthy, capable of protecting the tribe? Meeting a stranger at the edge of your territory, you had seconds to judge friend from threat, and a thick beard could read as older, more experienced, more intimidating, before a single word was exchanged. Modern psychology backs this up. Shown photos of bearded versus clean-shaven men, volunteers consistently rate the bearded ones as more mature and more dominant, not because it's necessarily true, but because perception drives behavior regardless. There's a second theory worth mentioning, though it's more debated. Some researchers have proposed the beard may have offered a small amount of physical protection, not armor, but a light cushion softening the impact of a glancing blow to one of the face's most vulnerable spots, the jaw. Ancient life had its share of physical conflict, territory disputes, hunting accidents, fights over leadership. So the idea isn't far-fetched, but the evidence is mixed, and scientists remain split on it. Whichever theory holds more weight, one thing is clear. The beard became a message, read instantly without a word spoken, passed from face to face for thousands of generations. But today, that ancient signal faces something new. Every morning, millions of men pick up a razor and erase in minutes a feature evolution spent millions of years building. Picture an ancient man beside a still river, looking at his own reflection. The beard staring back isn't a fashion choice or a personal style statement. It's simply who he is. For nearly all of human history, men didn't decide whether to grow a beard. Nature decided for them. No razors, no barbershops. A beard simply arrived as part of becoming an adult, and everyone around him read the message instantly. This man has reached maturity. That began to change as civilizations grew. Ancient Egyptians were among the first people to shave regularly, associating a smooth face with cleanliness, discipline, and status, though ironically many pharaohs still wore ceremonial beards, often artificial gold ones, because even after the real hair was gone, the symbol itself still carried weight. Centuries later, the Greeks swung the opposite direction, prizing thick beards as signs of wisdom, strength, and philosophical seriousness. Many of history's most remembered thinkers are pictured with full beards. Then came Rome, where the fashion flipped again. A smooth face signaled civilization, order, and modern thinking. Across history, the beard kept changing what it meant. Sometimes authority, sometimes rebellion, sometimes religion, sometimes experience. The hair itself barely changed. Only the story people wrapped around it did. Today, that story can change every morning. A man can wake up bearded and be clean-shaven in under 5 minutes, something evolution spent millions of years preserving, undone with a few strokes of a razor. Some men shave daily, others spend months growing a full beard. Neither choice is right or wrong, but both point to something remarkable. Modern humans are the first to consciously edit an evolutionary signal at will. Maybe the most fascinating part isn't the beard itself, it's the freedom to choose whether to display it or hide it. Which leaves one last question. If beards once helped our ancestors communicate, do they still influence people today? Or has modern society finally erased a signal that survived for millions of years? The answer might surprise you. So why do men still grow beards after millions of years of evolution? There isn't one clean answer. It's a story shaped by survival, biology, and human behavior layered on top of each other. Our ancestors lost most of their body hair because staying cool became essential for survival. A nearly hairless body paired with millions of sweat glands let early humans travel farther and hunt longer under a brutal sun. But evolution didn't erase every strand. It kept what still served a purpose. Scalp hair protected the head, eyebrows shielded the eyes, eyelashes blocked dust, and the beard became something different altogether. Not a cooling tool, not a weapon, but a signal. A silent way of communicating health, maturity, confidence, and status. Long before humans built cities, wrote language, or introduced themselves by name. Your face was already speaking. I am young, I am experienced, I am healthy, I am someone you shouldn't challenge. We'll never know exactly how consistently those signals were read, but evolution rarely holds on to a feature for millions of years without a reason. The world today looks nothing like the one that shaped the beard. It no longer decides who leads or who survives winter. Success now runs on knowledge, creativity, kindness, and plenty of things evolution never selected for. And yet the beard remains, not because we need it to survive, but because it's woven into our evolutionary history. Every morning, some men shave it away completely, others spend months growing it out, others shape it into something new entirely, and for the first time in human history, that choice belongs to the individual rather than to nature. Maybe that's the real story here. The beard itself has barely changed, but its meaning has shifted again and again, from survival to attraction, from power to fashion, from ancient tribes to modern cities, following humanity through every stage of the journey. So next time you see someone with a beard or catch your own reflection, remember, you're not just looking at facial hair. You're looking at a living signal carried down through countless generations, from ancestors who once walked the African savanna to the world you live in right now. If you enjoyed uncovering the hidden science behind one of humanity's oldest features, hit like and subscribe for more documentaries on human evolution, ancient civilizations, and the incredible stories hidden inside our own bodies. Tell us in the comments, do you think beards evolved mainly for survival or for attraction? Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next journey through human history.